This podcast is part of the Batman Universe Podcast Network, hosted by the BatmanUniverse.net. Check out everything related to Batman and the entire Bat family at the BatmanUniverse.net, including news and original content related to comics, movies, television, merchandise, video games, and more. Also, check out some of the other unique podcasts that TBU has to offer. Consider supporting this podcast by becoming a patron on Patreon. Even $1 can go a long way in supporting this content that you enjoy. Look for a link over at the BatmanUniverse.net to offer your support now. And now, on with the show.
Scarecrows frightened of a clown that's laughing, boys. I am a Bat-Fan. I am a Bat-Fan. Shine and signal, come out to play. I am a Bat-Fan. I am a Bat-Fan. Bring it on, Batman. Jump out your cave, 'cause I am a Bat-Fan. I am a Bat-Fan. Shine that signal, come out and play. I am a Bat-Fan. I am a
Hey, what's up, everybody, and welcome to episode 251 of It's All Tim's Fault. That's not my fault this time because we're on 2 episodes in a row now in our schedule, so things are looking better. But as always, my name is Tim, joining you on this episode, and along with me for the ride is, of course, Dane. And Dane, I know we're actually just talking about, you always start an episode with a random question for me, but I actually did have one for you.
Oh, you do? Wow.
I just thought of it
Okay.
because I was looking at your Skype picture, and you've had
Yeah.
it for so long, but you just recently changed your Twitter picture to an awesome Batman image. I was wondering, will you ever be tempted to change your Skype profile picture to what it is now, or is it just so synonymously, mixed in with your Skype profile that it always has to be that is your Skype identity now, that picture? Will it ever be changed?
Well, Tim, if you ever change yours from Captain Rex there, then I
Yep.
will. I will in fact change it.
Well, looks
Yeah.
like we're going to be stuck with our Skype pictures forever, because I don't think I'm ever going to change my Captain Rex picture. Because I was asking you that because that's kind of how I feel now. Like, that image of Rex is just, that's how it's always been for my Skype profile. I've never wanted to change it.
Never changed it. Yeah.
Been using this over a decade now, and what's the point in changing it when it's this long?
Yeah, and plus to it, to be honest, I can't even remember how to change my Skype picture.
Yeah, it'd probably take longer than it's worth to figure out where it's at to where you change
Yeah.
it now.
Yeah, I mean, the only reason why I changed my Twitter handle or profile picture was because I had a bunch of porn accounts randomly follow me. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna close it up again. And so I had to go look up the setting to make your Twitter locked. Yeah, and I was like, oh, I should change my profile picture. What should I change it to? What do I have on my a camera roll on my phone? Oh, okay, this one is good. So I picked it. Yeah.
Yeah, so if you guys haven't seen it yet, do a search for Dane Says Banana to see his awesome Batman profile picture. I guarantee you probably won't find too many with that image. Batman as their profile.
But my favorite is my what do you call it? The Twitter background
Yeah.
picture. I don't know if you've seen it before, Tim, but it's from I believe it's from the TMNT television show, the live action television show.
Oh no, the Next Mutation.
Yeah, the Next Mutation.
The one thing worse than the Coming Out of the Shells concert tour is that TV show.
Yeah.
So I don't think I've noticed that when you change the profile picture. See, I'm gonna have to check that out now.
Yeah, you gotta take a look at it. It was either gonna be that one or it was gonna be the head of the or the animatronic head of the suits from the movie, the TMNT movie. but not then. Now, how they've deteriorated over time.
I've seen those images. Yes,
Yeah.
it's sad.
Yeah, it was going to be one of the two. I mean, what is that? Styrofoam or kind of like
Yeah, well, whatever the material does not last,
silicone? Yeah.
does not last decades.
Yeah, it doesn't. It doesn't. It's nightmare inducing. If you want nightmares, definitely take a look at those. Yeah.
Yeah, you have been warned. So yeah, go check out Dane's Twitter profile. You won't be disappointed, and you'll guaranteed some laughs.
Yeah. I also thought it was a good idea to take away like the link to the show, just in case. Like I don't know, maybe these people that run the accounts or whatever might click on the link or whatever, take them to our show or Batman Universe, just in case.
But we want more hits and listens. I mean, you shouldn't take it off, regardless if they're spam account.
Yeah, well, I mean, like what are those accounts for? Is that just this make you click a link and then like infect your phone
Yeah,
or
it
your
just gives you a
computer or
bunch of
something?
viruses and stuff.
Oh, that's what it's for. Well, hopefully they leave me alone and I can open up my
Yes.
Twitter again.
Don't deprive any followers of your amazing Twitter account, Dane.
Yeah, I haven't tweeted in like 2 years, I think.
Yeah.
I want to say it was when Solo was coming out.
No, I think it had to be sooner than that, 'cause that's 5 years ago.
Yeah. I can't remember. Anyway,
We'll look it up.
yeah, it doesn't matter. Yeah, I read Twitter. I don't tweet myself. Yeah.
I think I tagged you more than you tweeted whenever I post about our new episode coming up.
Wow.
You have more tags than tweets.
You know what? You got me curious, Tim. Hold on one second. I know this is fascinating.
Yeah, something that listeners could
Content
do on
here.
their own, but we want to tell you. Yeah.
3 years ago. Yeah, it was
That's
Solo.
still a pretty good gap. Okay,
Solo.
so it was about Solo, but not when Solo came out.
Yeah.
How about your replies? Like, you have to reply. Maybe you replied sooner to a tweet than you actually did one yourself.
2022, 8/3/22.
Ah, okay.
It's last year.
So what was that reply tweet?
Just to Mark, actually. Hold on, let me bring it up again. Time. Reply. Oh, Mark tweeted, every day after work, I feel I need to lay down in a dark room and not talk for an hour. I replied, you ain't alone on that one, my friend.
Well, see, at least you're providing some comfort and relatability to Mark. So it was a good comfort tweet.
And the last time I replied to you or the Saga Continues Twitter handle was...
Wait, let me see if I remember what this is. I think I do.
What is it?
So the one I'm thinking of, at least the one I last remember you replying, was we were asking about your favorite moments from the Obi-Wan TV series, and you replied with a screenshot of the credits of Flea.
Yeah.
That's
yeah, you got it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's my favorite Star Wars credit. I will say that.
How can it not be?
Oh, man. Anyway.
That's today's history lesson of Dane's Twitter profile and feed. So you're welcome, everybody.
I rarely tweet, but when I do, it's something stupid.
Yeah. We'll let you know on the podcast when Dane tweets, just so you can be aware, since his account is locked. So
yeah.
But with that, I guess we can move right along into our Lord of the Rings
Tim,
Fellowship of the Ring commentary.
Sorry, I just thought of a question.
Make it quick, Dane. Come on.
Yeah, okay. So no long answers, Tim. Okay? I just want the name of the thing. Okay? What was the first concert you went to?
Oh, that's easy. Paul McCartney back in 1992,
Oh,
where he was doing a tour for his Off the Ground album. That
Okay.
well, now you're making me think of a funny story.
What happened, Tim?
So
What
it's like, this is obviously, my dad's a huge Beatle fan, huge Paul McCartney fan, and this was going to be the show he wanted to take his kids to see for the first time. So he was excited about it. So of course, this was the days before you could buy tickets online. So we had to go to a Tower Records early on a Saturday morning to try to get these tickets. And he brought pretty much all of us, my whole family, my two brothers, obviously my mom, so we could all get wristbands and to see to have a better chance of getting tickets early and better seats. And there was a pretty big line, so we're all there. And even someone online, I remember making a comment like to my dad, "Oh, like you're really smart. You brought your kids to try to get like tickets to, or a better chance of getting good tickets." So we're all in line, and they're going to call your wristband number. So it doesn't matter where you're at in the line; just matters what your wristband number is. And guess whose wristband got called first, Dane?
Oh, I'm guessing it's yours, Tim.
Of
Is it?
course.
Yeah.
So they call my number. I didn't know what to do, so my dad pretty much grabs me and picks me up and starts going to the ticket booth to purchase the tickets. So we got ground level seats. It was at Angel Stadium, actually, in Anaheim, where it was. So it was like kind of good seats and kind of not, because good we were on the ground level, but we were kind of towards the side, like on the right side. So it wasn't like we're in the middle to like see the full stage. We're kind of more towards the corner. So it was good, but not great. But it was a fun experience getting those tickets. And being my first concert, I was like, I got a little freaked out, so, like a little nervous, like a little mini panic attack before it started. But I calmed down and later enjoyed the show. But that was my first concert.
Was it the crowd that?
Yeah, I think it was like it was a crowd anticipation of like loud music and noise and stuff. So just like anticipation of it was freaking me out a little bit.
I see. So Paul McCartney was your first concert, huh?
Yep.
Wow. What a first concert, Tim.
Oh yeah, it's a great name to throw out there. It doesn't get much bigger than that.
And I'm guessing the last concert you went to was 311?
Yep, last 311 day, which is going to be a year ago. Hard to believe already.
I can't even remember what my last concert was. Or my first concert. First concert was Jimmy Eat World.
Okay. About what year?
The middle tour, but I mean a Bleed American tour. But
okay, early 2000s.
The song didn't come out yet.
Oh wow! So.
Oh no, sorry. The song came out, and everybody was yelling to play the middle the whole time. And
it's like, they're gonna play it. Just wait.
Yeah. No, what happened was everybody was, telling him to, or yelling at them to play the middle, and then somebody threw a water bottle and hit somebody, and they all walked off.
Oh jeez.
Yeah.
Did they come back or?
Yeah, they came back after a while. Yeah. Yeah. That was my first concert. Yeah, Jimmy Eat World. I had to have been like 11 or 12. I couldn't actually, because the concert was at like a bar.
Okay.
It was called the Pipeline Cafe. And I couldn't actually get in. So what you do is there's a lot of military here. And there's they're usually cool, and so you just shoulder tap and ask if you can if they can get you in. Yeah, I did that for a long time.
Until you're appropriate age.
Yeah, that's all I could get in legally. But by the time that happened, that place had closed down. It's been closed down for like a good 5 years. So. Yeah.
Well, at least it was a memorable first concert experience. You got to see the band get
Yeah.
upset and walk off the stage for a bit. You won't forget that.
I can't remember if it was the ska band Real Big Fish or the punk band Pennywise.
Mm.
But I remember because my friend's dad used to do the liquor license for that place,
Okay.
Pipeline Cafe, and he used to get us free tickets and let us into the VIP room
Nice.
or the VIP rooms. And so like we would always sit upstairs and you're looking down on the band kind of. And anyway, one time during one of those concerts, I can't remember which one it was, but like somebody got hurt and they had to stop the entire concert.
Oh,
And
man.
yeah, and like everybody had to make a pathway, and then the paramedics came in, and the guy was on the ground, and that whole thing. But anyway, yeah, a lot of good
Yeah.
times at that Pipeline Cafe.
That's cool. Never.
Yeah.
I've been to quite a few venues here in California, but never like one that's like the go-to place where I've seen a lot of bands at a few times. There's a few places I've been there multiple times, but never like more than three, probably 3 times. But because in
Yeah.
LA, you got a lot of venues to choose from.
Oh
That's
yeah,
for darn sure.
yeah. Over here, if you're not like I don't know, if you're not a Beyonce, right?
Mhm.
You're, your band. Yeah, people know about your band, but you're not that big. You would have went to this place, Pipeline Cafe. Yeah, closed down. I think they actually, I don't know, it was like some kind of like money laundering thing, I want to say, or it was like some kind of crime that happened.
Jeez.
They closed down. It became a BJ Penn UFC gym for a little while. Then it became a restaurant, and then I think they tore it down and they're redeveloping that whole area. This is a rough area. Like,
Yeah, I guess so.
yeah,
Nothing seems to last.
there were a lot of crimes, drug dealing, um, just a lot of homeless and stuff. But yeah, they redeveloped that whole area, and now it's high-rise apartments.
Well, that's disappointing.
Yeah. Anyway,
Well, you know what's a great venue, Dane, in the Shire? The Green Dragon. I mean,
is it now?
we
Did
saw Marion Pippin sing there. The crowd was into it. Looked like everyone's having a good time. I mean, that's where all the good Hobbit bands go to play. Is the Green Dragon.
did the early aughts My Chemical Romance play there?
Maybe I think their name was My Chemical Pipeweed. That was like the Hobbit band name.
Yeah. Oh, I see. I've actually seen My Chemical Romance live. I had no idea who they were at the time.
Okay. So you
I
saw them
never
before?
heard their music before.
Was it before they got
No,
big, or?
no. I want to say they were big. I mean, I think it was before that big album that they had. I can't remember what it's called. Like,
Yeah. Welcome to the Black Parade.
yeah, that Black Parade one. I think it was right before that. Like, I had never heard
Okay.
of that. My Chemical Romance before.
Yeah, like
Anyway,
I've never been the biggest My Chemical Romance fan. I mean, they have a few songs that I like, but I just remember working at GameStop. A friend of mine who worked there,
oh,
Omar, he comes in bursting with excitement. Like, you got to hear the song. It's like the biggest, greatest new band. Like, you guys are gonna love it. He puts it in the Xbox at GameStop before I think we were closed or before he opened. He plays it. He plays the song. It's like, yeah, it's okay, I guess. Like, you just
that's
overhyped it way too much. Like, I just never got into most of their
yeah.
songs besides a few of them.
And, and that's the worst part of like people playing music for you, and it's like, oh, that doesn't sound good.
Yeah, that's why
But
I've
I don't
never
want
liked.
them to. Yeah,
For me personally, I never like I don't recommend or really push like, oh, you got to hear this song because everyone's music taste is so different. I mean,
yeah,
even for those who have similar music tastes, you just never know what's going to hit. So like, even though you may love something that's the greatest, someone's going to go, or it's not their thing. In my experience, it's rare when you find someone to have the same reaction to you do as a song.
you reminded me of a story. Sorry, I know this is
I know
dragging
we're
out. We
going
gotta
way
get
off
to the
track
Lord
here.
Fellowship of the Ring, but so somebody did the same exact thing for me. Like, you gotta hear this song. This is gonna be like the biggest song in the entire universe slash world slash of all time, right? And so he puts the CD in, and then it's Yellow Card,
Okay.
and it's that Ocean Avenue song.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh no, that doesn't sound. Yeah, I mean, it sounds great. It sounds great.
You had to humor him.
Anyway, yeah, I have to humor him. Anyway, some unspecified amount of time lapses, and then he comes up to me and he says, "Oh, Dane, Yellow Card is coming down, and do you want to go to the concert?" And I was like, no. but,
But
but I
you're a big
said
fan of the song.
yes.
You loved it.
But I said yes, and so there used to be this festival, right, put on by Wu-Tang Clan, called Smoke Fest.
Uh,
This is gonna sound weird, okay, Tim? But just go along with me. So it was Wu-Tang was down there, um, uh, Wu-Tang, Snoop Dogg, and I want to say like Nate Dogg or something, and Yellow Card for some reason. And so we had to catch the bus, and it's where they filmed Jurassic World.
okay.
It's big ranch land, right? And so it's where they filmed Jurassic World, except they didn't film Jurassic World there yet, right? Obviously. So we get there, and Wu Tang was good. Snoop Dogg was really good. I don't remember who the other third rap group was, but and the Yellow Card comes on, and it's dead.
Man,
It's
like,
just it's
wow, that's such
totally.
a weird lineup to have. I mean, to throw
I
in
know.
a pop punk band with a bunch of hip hop artists.
Yeah, it's you have Wu Tang, right? A legendary rap group. You have Snoop Dogg, a legendary rapper, and then you have like somebody else who was probably a legend, and then you have Yellow Card. Like, how did they even get on the the bill there? Anyway, during the Yellow Card thing, the Yellow Card show, my friend went into the mosh pit, and the thing about that area is it's just grass fields, right? So, and it had just rained, and what happens to grass when it gets wet? It gets slippery, and it turns into mud when there's a lot of people running on it and going all over it, right? So anyway, it turns into mud. He gets pushed over, and then he breaks his ankle.
Oh,
Yeah, and this is like an hour and 15 minutes away from where we live, right? And so like he has to go into the medical tent or whatever, and then he
that
gets
had to be
taken to the
fun.
hospital, and I'm there left by myself at a festival slash concert. I want to say I was like 13 or 14 years old at the time, and yeah, I can't remember if I called my parents or if I caught the bus home, but I remember my parents being really angry that I went to this concert. Yeah, and then getting stuck there. Yeah,
All because you lied saying you liked that Yellow Card song. See,
exactly,
that's where lies get you,
exactly.
Dane. Let that be a lesson to
Don't
the
like
kids out
it.
there. Yeah.
Don't like it. Also, Tim Story, he mentioned a Tower Records. Go ask your grandparents what a record store
Yeah.
was.
There is actually a documentary on Tower Records, so if you want to
I
check that out.
saw it. I
Yes.
saw it. Yeah, by is it Colin Hanks?
Was it?
Tom Hanks' son.
Yeah,
Yeah,
okay.
Tom
That makes
Hanks'
sense if it was.
son.
I don't remember if it was or not.
Yeah.
So,
Anyway,
yeah. I mean, we were talking about before we started recording about not having any random questions, and here we are about 20 minutes into the show talking about a random question. What a fun one, though.
Yeah.
Our concert history.
Dude, that's got to be one of the weirdest concerts I've ever been to.
It sounds like it.
Anyway.
Well, I tried to have a transition into the Lord of the Rings commentary by mentioning the Green Dragon. Then we got derailed to another side track discussion. So no transition at all. It's just time to get into our Lord of the Rings Fellowship of the Ring commentary. So we are going to from minute 38 to minute 39. So as always, go grab your VHS copy, your Betamax copy, your Laserdisc, your DVD copy, your HD DVD copy, your projector film copy, grab your Blockbuster membership card to go rent it, go to the mailbox and get your Netflix physical media copy, get your DVHS version, and the one me and Dane will be watching on, our converted VHS to DVD copy made from our PCs. So, I forgot this time. I almost forgot, though, your UMD copy. Cannot forget UMDs. So if you got all those, or if you chose from any of those, go ahead and set it up for minute 38, and I'll give the countdown. Dane, are you ready?
I am ready, Tim.
3, 2, 1, play. As we start with a nice big close-up of Gandalf saying the end of the iconic line. And then that is the One Ring. I actually need to get back into listening to the audiobook of The Fellowship of the Ring by Andy Serkis, because this moment here, the chapter Shadows of the Past, where Gandalf was explaining to Frodo, so much more longer in the book. Different dialogues. They place different dialogue that takes place in this moment here in the books and later moments in the movie, especially in the Mines of Moria when Gandalf is talking to Frodo about Bilbo's history with Gollum and the pity of Bilbo and how Gollum will have a role to play. That's in the book is all said here in this moment, but knowing that they probably couldn't spend too much time here for a movie, I think it's cool that Peter Jackson, Philippa Boyens, and Fran Walsh kind of sprinkled those iconic conversations and bits of dialogue Gandalf had throughout the course of the movie, not just in this one scene. And that's the minute. I hogged up the whole minute. I'm sorry, Dane.
How dare you, Tim? How dare you? But yeah, you have to get back on those Andy Serkis audiobooks, because I like a month ago I finished the Two Towers one.
Mm-hmm.
It's really good. Yeah,
I know. I imagine that's amazing with him, all the Gollum stuff, to hear him do that again.
A lot of people complaining that they don't like it.
Well, really,
at least on the Audible, yeah.
I mean, are any
Audible
comments
page
free from complaints? No matter what the source is, I doubt it. There's kind of comments that is made for complaining, no matter what.
Yeah.
But I mean, being on the topic of Lord of the Rings, I cannot move on without at least mentioning the big news we got just a few days ago, how Warner Brothers Discovery now has inked a deal or renewed the rights to make movies and new Lord of the Rings movies now. So more stuff's coming in Middle Earth, which I am excited about, because they're just, especially as I've been reading a lot of the books in the early history of the First Age, it's like so much stuff is ripe to be told in movies, and it's going to be amazing. But I am a little bummed into the fact that I was just mentioning the First Age stories, how I love them so much and I want to see those adapted. And it looks like, because I just found out kind of more on what rights they do have, it looks to just be the rights of the Lord of the Rings and the Hobbit books. But of course, that includes all the appendices as well. So more than likely, that's where they're going to be pulling from to make new movies. And there's tons of stuff in there to do some movies for. But I just want to see First Age stuff. As I'm reading it, that's kind of becoming my favorite age of Middle Earth. So a little bummed that it doesn't look like any of these new movies will be taken from the First Age. But still, I mean, there's tons and tons of history and characters and moments that will make into great movies. So I'm just glad that we're going to be continuing to spend more time in Middle Earth, not just with TV with the Rings of Power, but now also in movies again. And it looks like Peter Jackson and company are going to be involved in some aspect. They put out a press release saying that even during this whole negotiation phase of getting the rights, they were kind of kept in the loop along the whole process. So I think they'll be involved in some way. Maybe Peter Jackson won't direct any, but serving as a consultant or a producer I could see that being a likely scenario. So yeah, just cool news to get that more Middle Earth movies are coming, and I couldn't be more excited about it to see what type of stories and what part of the history and timeline we're going to get in these new movies. So it should be really cool to have new Lord of the Rings films to be excited for.
Yeah, it's weird how broken up the entire thing is. J.R. Tolkien's
Mm-hmm.
Middle Earth series is like, because I mean that if I had to criticize Nerd of the Rings for one thing, is that he keeps on saying like, oh, but that was in Silmarillion, and it was like this in the Silmarillion, and they should have just done that. Well, they don't have the rights. That's the problem. That's why they have to make something up, right? But it's weird how like broken up, like, oh, we can't tell the story from, like you said, the first age or whatever, because we don't have the rights to it, but we have the rights to the surrounding stories around that, but we don't have the rights to that origin story or whatever.
Mm. Yeah, it's like it seems like the Tolkien estate is just really strict on stories from the first age, like the Silmarillion and some of the other tales from that first age. Like they're really protective of it. I just wonder if they're ever gonna give the rights for some studio or company to adapt that. But I mean, Amazon doesn't have it, and now the Warner Brothers doesn't have it, so it's like seems like they're going to be very protective of those type of stories, which I mean is a bummer for us as fans because, like, again, I think those would make for some amazing live action content in set in Middle Earth.
Why are they so protective over
I know. I think maybe
things?
it's because like that's kind of the heart of Tolkien's, like his personal favorites, for lack of better words, where like he was really into telling those stories and creating tales in that era. And just because that was like his big focus or his main thing he wanted to do after The Hobbit, or even a little bit before, was kind of telling these type of first age stories and these characters that eventually became part of the Middle Earth mythology. And like Lord of the Rings, The Hobbit kind of became developed afterwards. But his real, I think, love and passion was developing those stories set in the first age. So maybe because they were so important to him, the Tolkien estate feels that they want to be very protective of that. So I mean, that's just me speculating, but I could see that being the case because everything I've read is like a lot of the letters Tolkien would write that he was just really into wanted to building up that mythology and that lore set in that era more than anything.
He didn't want to sell the rights to Disney, right?
Did they ever? I think that I'm not too sure about. Now that you mention it, I think that might have been something that happened where they at least inquired to try to get it, but he said no.
Yeah, because of the how they treated the I want to say Mary Poppins writer,
Oh,
the woman who wrote
yeah.
Mary Poppins. Yeah, how they treated her, so he refused to sell it to. I mean, I guess he shopped it around, but he flat out refused to sell it to Walt Disney.
And I know he didn't take the Beatles offer on make them wanting to do a movie version of it.
That would have been weird.
Yeah. I believe it was Paul as Frodo, George as Gandalf, John as Gollum. I can't remember who Ringo was. Maybe he was one of the other hobbits, but
He was Sean Bean, Boromir.
Boromir.
He was Boromir.
Or maybe he would just be the ring, Ringo, ring. So.
Yeah. You have to throw him into the lake of lava at the end.
So yeah, it was cool to get some exciting Lord of the Rings news. So I can't wait to see what we're gonna get. So
yeah, it's like Tim. It's like the Rings of Power was a success.
Yeah. But it's totally separate from that though. That's the thing. Like I don't think it really had to do with the Rings of Power.
Yeah, but I'm sure the Rings of Power was a really good testing ground for what they wanted to do, for what they could do.
Yeah. It's gonna be weird having like the two competing with each other, like Warner Brothers and Amazon putting out separate Middle Earth content. But hey, as long as they're good and we enjoy them, bring it on. The more we get, the better.
Yeah.
As long as they're good and we enjoy them. And
I don't know. It seemed like a lot of people didn't like Rings of Power, Tim.
no, they didn't. but what else is new? I'm already seeing complaints about Mandalorian season 3, and that hasn't even started yet. So
What complaints, Tim?
I think
What
just how
complaints could you possibly have about a show you've not seen?
so John Favreau's been doing interviews, and I've read certain quotes, but again, I'm trying to stay pretty clear of. He doesn't spoil anything really, but it's just like I just want to be rather safe than sorry. But people like some of the things he said about the Mandalorian not having like they haven't thought of an ending yet. He wants it to go on as long as possible. Some people not being happy about that, and then still about the whole thing of the 2 Mando episodes being in the Book of Boba Fett and how this kind of alienates the audience of the Mandalorian who didn't watch Book of Boba Fett and just kind of rolling into the already complaining about season 3, like how are they going to do that, or it's they ruined the ending of season 2 because the emotional ending of season 2 had and bringing Grogu back already. So it's like all this stuff people I'm seeing complaining about before online before the season has even started. It's like I'm trying to distance myself from that because I am beyond excited to start this next season of The Mandalorian, and I don't want to have anything tamper that excitement, which it won't, but it's still a little annoying to see more than I was expecting, definitely before the season actually starts. Yes.
That's my reaction to that. That's my reaction to it.
Yeah, mine too.
Yeah, it's like people complaining about The Last of Us because like I saw like some video game people like criticizing the show because it doesn't have the big action sequences from the game.
It's not a game, so it can't.
It's not a game,
action
guys.
sequences.
It's not a game. It's a television show which you sit on your couch and you watch. That's what it is.
Yes. We'll get to The Last of Us at the end of this episode because
Yeah.
there's stuff to talk about. But I guess going into what's mainly going to be our feature topic, I guess, is finally getting a chance to talk about the full-length Flash trailer we finally got that debuted on Super Bowl Sunday, the day after we recorded our last episode. So I've been chomping at the bit to talk about this trailer because not only, it's the movie that we never thought we'd get. And yes, there's still time for it to be canceled or pushed back even more. You never know what's Warner Brothers Discovery, but this is a good sign that we got a full-blown trailer. And I know we got that first look sneak peek at Fandom a couple of years ago. Just give us a few glimpses of footage, which in the little teases of Batman, Michael Keaton's Batman returning there, that was enough to get me excited. But man, this trailer was just full-blown Michael Keaton Batman front and center. Flashpoint being heavily featured and just telling you what this movie is going to be about. And while yes, I knew they were going to be adapting Flashpoint at some point or in some regards, but I didn't know how deep they're going to go into it and how much they were going to adapt it. But man, it looks like they're going full blown Flashpoint at this movie, and I'm excited about it. But I know some fans aren't because they want just the first Flash movie to be about the Flash, and I get that. But at the same time, I cannot help be excited that not only we're getting Michael Keaton back as Batman, but Flashpoint is an awesome story, and the fact that they're taking a lot of elements from that story to revisit certain things in the DCEU while resetting and moving forward in the new universe, as James Gunn has said. But I just like there are pulling more Flashpoint than I thought they would, and it just looks to be crazy because the stuff we're getting, not only just with Michael Keaton's Batman, pretty much being the Thomas Wayne Batman figure in this movie, probably not as extreme as him, but just that team up with Barry, and it looks like there's going to be a moment where he tries to get his powers back through the lightning that happens in Flashpoint, because you see that moment in the trailer where the lightning hitting almost like a batarang or a bat rope that's connected to Barry, and you see him get shocked. So elements like that, and then you throw in the stuff they're doing with Supergirl, where I was curious how they were going to bring her into the story. And it looks like she's playing the Superman role in Flashpoint, where he was held captive, he was depowered, and Flash and Batman have to go rescue him. And the fact that we got that moment in the trailer was just awesome. Seeing Flash yelling at Batman, like, what are we going to do? And then Michael Keaton as Batman just was try not to die. And then you see Supergirl come in and just take out the soldiers that were holding her captured. Looks like it's going to be an awesome action sequence that was from Flashpoint, and now we're going to see it here. But with Supergirl playing the role as the Clark Kent in this universe. Obviously, it's a different universe, so they're able to play around in different versions of these characters. So I do like how they're acknowledging that, yeah, we're expecting to have Clark here as Superman, but it's not. But it's actually Kara in this universe who's filling that role. And it just looks, this is a great way to combining to having Supergirl in this, but using that story aspect in Flashpoint for what's happened to Superman. Because I did like that aspect of Flashpoint and how Superman was in that version. So seeing all that in the trailer was awesome. And then just getting, I wasn't expecting, I think this was well known for those who are keeping track of spoilers for the movie, that Zod was going to be back, but that was a surprise to me. And seeing how we're going to revisit moments of their invasion in Man of Steel when there is no Superman there, that looks, I wasn't expecting that. So that's part of the whole crazy timeline stuff that I'm excited that this movie is going to explore, like different versions of what the DCEU could have been depending on the circumstances. So that's going to look like a lot of fun. You got Ben Affleck in this trailer, not only as Bruce Wayne, but certain shots of him as Batman with a blue cape and cowl, which the first time we're going to see that on screen in a movie in a long, long time since the Adam West version. And that looked cool to see. So, I mean, this as a DC fan, there's just so much to eat up and enjoy and just be excited for. And like I said, this trailer was full blown featuring Michael Keaton as Batman. It was a great build up. You had the music playing, you had the reveal of you see a shot of the Batmobile under the tarp, and then you get that awesome moment. I mean, yeah, could you say it's a little on the nose? Yeah, but I'm glad it's there, where Barry's just in shock and he just goes, you're, and then he just goes, you see the first shot of Michael Keaton front and center with the cowl on, just going, yeah, I'm Batman. And just hearing him say those words again was just awesome to hear. And then just seeing him in action, fighting like we never got to see Michael Keaton fight before as Batman, thanks to some CGI techniques. But just seeing this version of Batman like never before was awesome. And I'm really already liking the dynamic he's having with Barry in this. So this movie looks like it's going to be a lot of fun, just a lot of stuff to eat up as a DC fan. And knowing too how it is going to be a big movie that shapes up and kind of resets things in the DC universe, I'm really curious to see how they're going to pull that off as well. And I'm just loving the excitement and confidence that James Gunn is having for this. I mean, he's hyping it up a lot, saying he loves this movie, even though he wasn't involved with it as this was being made before he was brought on to be the head of DC. And now even the fact that it's going to be shown, I believe, at the Cannes Film Festival, like several months before it comes out. So it seems like those at Warner Brothers at the head of DC are really kind of proud of this movie, and they want to get the excitement out for there and get it out to the fans as soon as possible. So I'm just liking everything I've seen and hearing about this. This was just a great first look, and just knowing all the production issues, delays, and even actor issues they've had with this, you needed to put out a trailer to get people to think that it's all going to be worth it with this movie, worth the wait, worth the struggles, all that. I think that trailer really did that for not only me, but I know a lot of other DC fans I've seen online too. So I thought this was a fantastic trailer, and I just really one of my most anticipated movies of the year. So I think it looks great.
Yeah, it's not for me.
I'm not surprised.
It was great to see the Keaton Batman. Yeah, it's not for me. I tried to find like one thing that really made me excited for it, and I just can't find it. Maybe it's the Keaton thing, but like, does it just become a Keaton movie then? If he's going to be featured heavily in it.
And you know what? At this point, I don't think that's a bad thing.
Yeah, I mean, can't go wrong with it. But yeah, it's not my thing. I don't like Ezra Miller as Flash. I couldn't get over it in the Justice League. In the brief scene he's in Batman vs Superman, yeah, I just can't. I just don't like him as Flash. That's all. Hopefully, this is the end of that, and we can move on. And hopefully, they bring out something better. Yeah, that's all I'll say, because I don't want to be too negative, Tim.
Well, I guess it's safe to say this will be a solo Tim review when the movie comes out.
Yeah, it's gonna be a Tim. You know what? Just give me the 3-second Cliff Notes version. Let me copy your homework a little bit. You know.
Then you could chime in here and there.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's not for me. Oh, that Supergirl looked pretty interesting. That's what I'll say. Yeah.
Right, so you found something. So.
Yeah, something different. Let's go full steam with that Supergirl. See what we can achieve.
Yeah, it will be interesting to see if they're going to continue with this version of Supergirl, this actress that's playing her for the new Supergirl movie that they have planned that was announced in their first slate.
Yeah. You know
Or
what,
unless,
Tim? She's gonna have to test really well with a lot of really complicated test audiences before that happens.
test audiences. I mean, how
Yeah.
about just general audiences when the movie comes out, not test audiences, because you can't always rely on those.
Yeah, you're right.
That might be something they're waiting on, just to see the reaction to this movie, because I'm sure that Supergirl movies they got some time to cast and see what they want to do with that. So.
Oh, they had a lot of time with that Green Lantern movie, Tim.
In the
Cast
Slash
it.
series.
Series, yeah.
Will I get any
Yeah.
Green Lantern Easter eggs in this Flash movie?
Maybe you'll see
would
like
just
a
set it over the
green,
top for me.
green fluorescent bulb.
But I'll take it.
I don't know.
I'm so desperate. If I just see a flash of some type of green light, I'll take it.
It'd be really good. I'm probably gonna ruin this movie for you, Tim, but it would be a really, really good stinger scene, mid-credit scene,
Mm-hmm.
if they had something with Green Lantern there.
Oh, it would just turn the movie from if I love the movie and I think it's a 10, a Green Lantern post credit scene will make it 11.
Yeah, sure it would, Tim. I'm sure you would scream it out and out loud. You would say it proud. You would probably have a mini heart attack. Have to go to the hospital and recover. And be healthy and stuff. But I think that just might make you have a heart attack.
It'll be worth it. No complaints for me if that happens. So yeah, we finally got our first look at the Flash trailer. I thought it looked awesome, but the one disappointment I have was I didn't see it in the movies when I just saw Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania. I was going to expect, I'm going to see the Guardians of the Galaxy new trailer, which we got, the Flash trailer, we didn't get. So I was disappointed with that. So that was the only negative with the Flash trailer, was not seeing it yet on the big screen. But speaking of Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania, I guess we can get into some reviews now on here, because I did see that recently, and of course it's a comic book movie, Marvel MCU movie. Got to talk about it here and give my thoughts on it, because if you look online, Quantumania is not being received the best, especially when it comes to other MCU movies, as we know that they usually, for the most part, get a good critical reception and a good audience reaction. But this one is kind of the worst we've seen, actually. So,
Really?
yeah,
Is it
kind of
worse
surprised.
than Eternals?
It's about on par with the Eternals.
I see.
It has like a 40% or something like that on Rotten Tomatoes, which I think is what Eternals had.
Yeah.
So it's kind of on par with that. So when I was kind of seeing that before I saw it, but after I saw the movie, I was like, man, this is going to be something where I'm going to disagree with a lot of the consensus here, because I really enjoyed it, actually. There were certain things I guess I can understand where some people might not have some issue with, but for me, it was just a really fun time. And the one thing I liked about it is how they just went full blown sci-fi in this movie. I mean, the previous Ant-Man movies were more heist films, a little more grounded. I say grounded loosely because, someone who can talk to ants and shrink and grow. So that's not very typically grounded, but it never got into like the big sci-fi, cosmic, mystical aspects of the MCU. But this one, it really did. When they enter the quantum realm, I mean, they're only in on Earth for lack of better words, are in the normal realm because they're technically still on Earth. But like the first 15 minutes of the movie, then the rest of it's all in the quantum realm. And it was just like they were in another universe. Like I said, they just went full blown sci-fi with alien environments, alien creatures, some cool, unique concepts. It was just great that I just liked that they really dived into that for this Ant-Man film. And it was a fun time. But the biggest thing that I really enjoyed with this movie, which I think even those who didn't really like it would agree on, was Jonathan Majors' performance as Kang the Conqueror, and knowing how he is going to be pretty much the big Marvel villain for this saga, the multiverse saga. You can
Don't tell me, Tim. Tim, don't tell me it. Don't tell me the name of the last one.
Come on.
Oh man.
Just think of a name of a movie, a pretty big one.
Don't tell me it, Tim. Don't you ever tell me it.
I have a feeling I'm going to have to, because you're causing me doubt that you're going to get it if it's taking you this long.
Theranos. No.
So you're actually thinking of the name of the character, which we had to tell you on the last episode, so you couldn't remember, Dane.
Don't tell me, Tim. Theranos is the name of the blood company that went bankrupt because they didn't have their technology straight. Okay.
Yeah, that's it.
But I know I'm close. I know I am close.
Yeah. You're dead on there.
But no, it doesn't begin with a B. Thanos.
There you go.
Okay. Theranos was the blood company that went bankrupt because they didn't have their technology straight. Theranos sounds like Thanos, who was the villain in the last phase of the Marvel universe and was in Endgame and dies in one of them movies. Okay, I got it, Tim. I got it.
I could ask for a better description of the last saga of the MCU. Well done, Dane.
I don't want to impress too. I don't want to show off, Tim, but I think I got it.
I appreciate the humility. Yeah.
It's taken me 15 years, Tim, but I think I got it. For however long these movies.
Start remembering the name Kang, Dane, because he's going to be a big part of the Marvel movies going forward as the main villain. It's a simple name.
Jonathan Majors.
Yes,
it's Jonathan Majors.
Yeah.
Well, you see, the good thing with that is I actually really like Jonathan Majors as an actor. So that won't be too hard.
And he was awesome as Kang in Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania. He was a great villain, and we actually got our first taste of Jonathan Majors at the season finale of the Loki series as He Who Remains, who was the first variant of Kang. And I guess I'll go, those spoiler warnings out here if you haven't seen Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania yet. But the whole deal with Kang is that there's tons of variants of him throughout the multiverse. And the Kang, like all the different variants of Kangs came together because he was the first one to discover that there was a multiverse and different variants of himself. And that led to kind of a big multiverse timeline war. They go into that in the Loki TV series, how and then Kang felt that this gets a little complicated if you don't watch it. So trying to explain it might be a little confusing, but I'll just say all the different variants of Kang came together. There's a multiverse war, and they had to banish Kang the Conqueror, who we see here in Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania, because of what he was trying to do and just kind of wipe all of them out. They banished him in the quantum realm, and he builds this empire in the quantum realm, rules over everyone there. And that's obviously once Ant-Man, his daughter, the Wasp, Hank and Janet Phim, they're all trapped in there. And once they realize they need to get out, they have to, of course, they have to defeat Kang in order to get out, because he has the only thing that will allow them to escape the quantum realm. And he has a history with Janet Van Dyne, played by Michelle Pfeiffer. When she was trapped in there, they kind of developed a friendship there as she tried to help him escape. And he promised her he would be able to take her home if they repaired his ship, which contained like a multiverse engine, which would allow him to escape the quantum realm. But once she found out, because it's like connected to his mind, this device, and when she touched it, she saw who he really was as an evil conqueror, but not from his point of view. So when she saw what he really is, and if they were able to escape, he would pretty much conquer Earth, and she couldn't do that. So she destroyed it, or shrunk it actually, to where he couldn't gain access to that. But once Ant-Man joins or gets into the quantum realm, and he sees that he has the ability to restore his multiversal engine or energy that he needs for his ship to escape, that's where he gets him, and tries to make a deal with him, saying, like your typical villain stuff, where if you don't get this for me, I'll kill your daughter type of scenario. But Jonathan Majors has played it so well, and just could be really menacing, and not to mess with him when he makes threats like that. And he just has a presence in this movie that was just really great. And you just know, like you said, he's such a great actor, because this is totally different than what he did as another version of Kang in the Loki finale. Totally different. The one in the Loki finale was more playful, fun, but this one was just all business. And once Kang really wanted to show his display of power, he really let loose, and that was awesome to see. And knowing that he's going to be the main villain in the next Avengers movie, knowing that this is probably just a taste of what Kang's going to be able to do when he's on full display here, just taking on Ant-Man and an insurgence of resistance freedom fighters trying to overthrow his empire. It just makes you cannot wait to see what he's going to do against the Avengers in future movies. So if the biggest win for Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania was the debut of Kang the Conqueror, and what Jonathan Majors can do in this role was just fantastic. I do have one concern about how the movie ended going forward. Again, I threw the spoiler warning out there, but it appears that Kang dies in this movie, and it's not definite, because it's almost like when they were trying to escape the quantum realm, he gets pushed, sucked into this other, I forget exactly what it was called, but almost like he got sucked into like another dimension type thing, where it wasn't actually, there was no dead body. He just got like sucked into some vortex or portal. So I took it that he could still be alive, but the post-credit scenes where you get 3 other variants of Kang, kind of the ones who banished him, saying, "Oh, the Conqueror is actually dead," type of thing. Like, they were shocked that someone was actually to actually kill him, so they think he's dead, which makes me kind of believe, oh, is that the case? But that post-credit scene was great, because we just get this big, gigantic Council of Kangs, where you just see this big stadium full of different versions of Jonathan Majors as Kang, and it was just incredible to see all these different versions. So it's like, is one of these going to be the main villain? Because the next Avengers movie is called Avengers: The Kang Dynasty. So, which, going into it makes me think that the villain we're going to see here in Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania is going to move on and continue into the next Avengers movie. But now I'm thinking, is it's going to be a different version of it, as we saw in this post-credit scene, or is it going to be about this whole Council of Kangs, like a bunch of different variants of Kang being the villains of the next Avengers movie? And Kang has a long history in the comics, and it can be a little complicated and convoluted, but it's going to be interesting to see how they deal with it. But the one thing I'm concerned about was that I just love this version that we got in Ant-Man of Kang the Conqueror, that I don't want this to be it, where he was only the villain for this movie. The way Jonathan Majors played him in this one, I want to see this version of Kang go up against the Avengers. So we'll see. I personally don't think he's dead. I think he will come back, even though the other members of this Council of Kangs thinks he's dead. But hopefully he comes back, because he was just great in this movie. I just want to see more of this version of Kang. But I think Jonathan Majors is going to have an awesome time diving into these different variants and roles as Kang the Conqueror. I mean, I think he's just going to enjoy showing his range as an actor to play all these different versions and variants of technically the same character, but being different. So it just left me really excited about the future Marvel movies and the Avengers movies, having Kang be the main villain in all this, because Jonathan Majors showed that, Thanos is a tough act to follow, but when it's all said and done, I don't know, Kang might be the one to maybe at least live up to that, or maybe even surpass it. We'll see, but the potential is definitely there because he was awesome in this role. And yeah, just the movie in general, again, it was just a lot of fun. I just love they went full blown sci-fi. I found it to be funny. Paul Rudd is great as Scott Lang, as always. And I gotta mention too, Dana, are you familiar with the character MODOK in Marvel Comics?
I believe so. That's that big head thing.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah.
He was in the movie. And
Really? As
yeah,
what? Doing what?
he was kind of like Kang's assassin, like his go-to, like his lackey to take on, to wipe out any insurgencies, and just someone who tried to be his second in command, but Kang knew his uses and didn't really put much stock into him, but just knew he could take out enemies when he needed to. But the way they pulled it off, but be having a giant head, I mean, it's hard to pull that off in live action. And I thought for the most part they did a pretty good job because it was funny. Do you remember the villain in the first Ant-Man movie?
No, I don't.
Okay.
No, I do not. Yeah.
Well, pretty much the villain in that movie got sucked into the quantum realm, and you thought he was dead, but actually, when he was sucked in there, Kang found him and he turned him into MODOK. Like what was left of him, all that remained was his head. So that's kind of this MCU version of MODOK, was they turned Darren Cross, the first villain in the Ant-Man movie, into MODOK. I don't think it's going to work for everybody, but it's Ant-Man. The Ant-Man movies is the right way or right franchise, I think, to introduce someone that is more kind of towards like the more comedic aspect of certain things. And I thought it worked well for the way he was using here in the quantum realm. But it was definitely a sight to behold, seeing the giant head of that character from the first Ant-Man movie just float around and cause, in certain instances, pretty massive damage to the people he was trying to take out here. So it was definitely a choice that they made, but overall, I thought it worked pretty well. And spoiler alert again here. His death scene was one of the most funniest moments in the movie. I'll say his like final words of what he was saying to Ant-Man. It was just, it had me cracking up. So yeah, and I got a kick out of seeing a live action MODOK, which is something I never thought I'd see. So yeah, overall, I really enjoyed it. I had a fun time with Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania. Jonathan Majors as Kang was amazing. Sets up the potential for the future Avengers movies. So I'm excited for it. So I was going to give it a solid 3.5 out of 5 for my review of Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania. And we were actually talking about this after we recorded our last episode. So you didn't, those listening didn't get to hear it, but I was shocked to find out that Dane actually really liked Thor: Love and Thunder, which was an MCU movie I thought he would never even bother seeing, let alone actually really like it. So
look, I love Taika, right?
Mm-hmm.
I love his television shows. I love his movies, and I love his Thor movies. And just the fact that they decided to just go full comedy on this one. I know people give it a lot of crap for being very, very inconsistent. The stage 4 cancer that Jane has, and then the humor in the show. I mean, in the movie, but I really, really enjoyed it as just a fun adventure, and I think that's what most people sort of lose the thread on. Is this is just a fun adventure? It's not supposed to be serious, as serious as the Kang is coming, sort of thing. But yeah, I really enjoyed it. Had kind of a heartwarming story with Jane and Thor, and had a lot of comedy, which I enjoyed. And the crowning achievement of that movie has to be, and I know you gave it a lot of crap, and I know a lot of people gave it a lot of crap for it, but Russell Crowe as Zeus in those Zeus scenes, I was cracking up the whole time. Yeah, I totally love that movie. More, I know this is sacrilege, Tim. I know I'm about to make you not talk to me for the rest of of our natural lives here, but uh, I enjoyed it more than I enjoyed Wakanda Forever.
Wow, that's saying something right
Thought,
there.
yeah, I thought Wakanda Forever was really good. Um, the Chadwick Boseman tribute in the beginning and towards the end. I mean, at the end, it was really nice. Angela Bassett was really good in it.
Yeah,
But
I think
yeah,
she's gonna get that Oscar.
I hope she does. She
Yeah, she is
deserves it.
incredible. Yeah.
Yeah. Um, but yeah, it was that was the inconsistent movie for me. Especially right when you get to that middle chunk of the movie where um, I forget her name. The new Black Panther goes into the underwater city.
Mm.
I thought that was really inconsistent. But anyway, like overall, I totally loved Wakanda Forever. I just love Thor a little bit more, just because it's the whole lack of caring. It seems, um, let's make this superhero joke, sort of, and not in a bad way. Not like let's make fun of him. But let's write him as a comedic character because all this self-serious stuff is great, but it's nice to have something to laugh at once in a while.
Yeah.
And to have just have a regular adventure. I don't think it really, besides the Guardians of the Galaxy, I don't think it really crosses over with anything. Um, and it's pretty much just a solo Thor adventure, which I loved. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I was surprised to hear you say that. I mean, I don't hate it. I mean, it's definitely one of the weaker ones in my opinion for
Oh no,
MCU.
Tim.
But see, the reason I bring it up is I with Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania. Besides, I think you're really gonna enjoy Jonathan Majors. But other than that, I don't think it'd be your type of movie. But now hearing what you thought about Thor is like, oh, maybe Dane will really like Quantumania like I did. So that kind of threw
Yeah,
me for a loop as far as what now I think you're gonna like in MCU movies going forward.
I'll definitely, uh, I'll definitely see it when it comes on Disney Plus. Yeah.
Yes.
Um, but yeah, Thor: Love and Thunder. I really like Thor Ragnarok too.
I really
Um,
like Ragnarok. Yeah.
yeah, I love Thor: Love and Thunder. And like I mentioned after we stopped recording 2 weeks ago, was I really want a spin-off Disney Plus show about Matt Damon and the Hemsworth brother
Yeah.
and Melissa McCarthy. I want that spin-off
Don't forget Sam Neill.
television show. And Sam Neill. Oh my God, how can I forget? You know, I really want that spin-off. Yeah.
It would probably be more enjoyable than Thor: Love and Thunder. Oh.
Oh, Tim. You've ripped my heart on my chest and stomped on it. How dare you? No,
Low
I
hanging
mean,
fruit, I know.
I can definitely see why people don't really like it. Um, Again, the main thing being the inconsistency, and it's the solo Thor adventure aspect of it. You know, I can really definitely see why people didn't like it, but I thoroughly enjoyed it. Um,
You thoroughly enjoyed it?
I thoroughly
Yeah.
enjoyed it, Tim. Yeah.
Yeah, hey.
Especially after playing God of War Ragnarok and seeing that Thor.
Oh, yeah. Talk about opposites,
Odin,
huh?
yeah, Odin and Heimdall, especially Heimdall. That's another character that
Yeah.
you come across in that game. Yeah, just seeing that fun-loving Thor. Um, I can see why people don't like it, but
Actually,
yeah, it was definitely.
I gotta revisit it because I haven't watched it since it came back, since it was put on Disney Plus. I only saw it the first time in the theater, so it's about time I should
Yeah,
revisit it.
yeah, it's I don't expect it to change your mind or anything, but yeah, I can see why people don't like it. You
But
know,
I will say though, I mean, he was underused, but Christian Bale, of course, made for an awesome villain. That was scored the God
Oh,
Butcher
yeah.
in this. They could have done more with him, which was I guess my complaint with it. But man, he was great as always.
A great sympathetic villain.
Yeah,
I know a lot of the Marvel villains are sympathetic villains, but like I feel like he was a little more of a sympathetic villain than most. And yeah, I want to see the. I think their next or Taika's next idea for Thor movie is a road movie. Like
you know what?
him and his daughter going on the road.
No,
Yeah.
well, honestly, I don't think Taika's going to be back for a Thor movie.
Yeah, that's true. That sucks, but you know,
Well, we'll see if his Star Wars movie comes to fruition. I mean, technically, it was officially announced that he's still involved, but given with the track record of Star Wars projects getting announced and directors leaving, doesn't put me much stock or to fully accept that his movie will happen. But as of right now, it's still on the slate, so we'll see if he still ends up doing that.
him and Ryan Johnson, the most hated man in Star Wars.
You know what? There's a part of me that would be concerned about a Taika Star Wars movie just being so different and out there, but at the same time, it's like he showed he can do some great Star Wars with the season 1 finale of The Mandalorian, so he has it in him. I just think he might need to rein himself back a little bit in the Star Wars universe.
Oh, it's sad.
I felt the season 1 finale of The Mandalorian had just the right amount of his type of humor, especially with those 2 scout troopers in the beginning. Like, that's as far I think it should go.
First you don't like Thor: Love and Thunder, and now you're bashing Taika. Tim.
See, after I said I like Thor: Love and Thunder, I just didn't love it, and after I said he did a great job with The Mandalorian, you take that as Taika bashing, but only you would take it that way, Dave.
I mean, the greatest gift that Taika has given the MCU is definitely the screaming goats from Love and Thunder.
Those started off funny, but it kind of was overused. I'll say that. So yeah, Dane recommends Thor: Love and Thunder. I recommend Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania. So
I do, Tim. I actually
2 of the more divisive movies in the MCU.
I actually really love the Marvel movie that you don't like.
Again, I said I liked it, but it's still one of the weakest ones when compared to the MCU other movies.
Now you're lying to yourself, Tim, and that's where we have a problem. You didn't like it, Tim. You didn't like it. You didn't like the jokes. You didn't like the screaming goats. You didn't.
I liked some of the jokes. I liked the screaming goats the first time they were introduced, but
you didn't like Thor's axe getting all jealous of Mjolnir.
That was the one comedy bit I really did like. I thought that was funny. So yeah, I guess that's our MCU reviews for a recent movie and a movie that came out several months ago. So keeping up to date here with the MCU. But I'm sorry, were you gonna say something, Dave?
No, I was just laughing at what you said. Like, oh yeah, we finally reviewed a 3-month-old movie.
That's longer than that.
Yeah.
It came out like July of 2022, I believe. So yeah, it's several months ago.
Oh, that was before Wakanda?
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah. So sorry. I guess continuing on with our reviews, we can get into the latest episode of The Last of Us. Episode 6, right? That's what we're on? Yeah.
I believe so.
Yes.
Yeah.
And you were kind of teasing at the end of our discussion for the last one, because you said you didn't watch the preview clip for this episode where you asked me, Tim, does the season change at all? And I went, yes. It's very snowy in this one. And that's all you said. You're just going to leave it at that. But yeah, just another really great episode. I mean, I don't want to make it sound like that hasn't been great before, but I think Pedro Pascal performance in this one was his best yet, along with two with Bella Ramsey as Ellie. That moment they had um, in the room of that house where she was just pretty much saying that she needs him and she'd be more scared without him when he's trying to have his brother Tommy take her to where she needs to go. Like that moment was just so well acted, and even to Pedro Pascal just talking to his brother Tommy, kind of saying how he can't do this anymore, and that's all he does is fail those he loves, and just man, like give him the Emmy. He was fantastic in this episode, and I was curious. I thought there was going to be kind of how the preview set it up, where there's going to be like a big fallout between Joel and Tommy for whatever reason. And obviously, it's been a while since they saw each other, and then learning that Tommy was going to have a son, and that kind of was put a little strain on their reunion, but nothing really big happened where like they became enemies. I thought it was gonna be something where like Tommy became a bad guy, they'd have to like fight each other, not like a fisticuff, just like brawl with each other, but he'd be an antagonist and they'd end up being on opposite sides of whatever. But it didn't go that route, which I was glad to see. I mean, obviously they had a little riff, they were able to repair, but I just did like how the direction it went, where again, just exploring how Joel's really feeling as a person going through all this, but at the same time realizing, he needs to be the one to take Ellie and not Tommy. And the fact that he gave her that choice, and I just loved how instant Ellie's like when he said that I'm going to give you a choice, and he just throws in the bag like let's go. Didn't even really get him a chance to finish. All that stuff was great. Of course, leading up to the moment where he gets stabbed, and obviously, this is going to be the end for him here, but I still wasn't expecting that to happen and to where that's how the episode leaves it. So I just thought all around it's a great episode, just exploring more of the characters of Joel and Ellie and just really get into, how, especially Joel in this one, how he's feeling and dealing with all this stuff, and just put that in with great performances from Pedro Pascal. This was just another really great one. But now I'm curious, Dane, to see how closely it was to the games and that moment and some of the big moments here. I do know that moment, the conversation he has with Ellie in the bedroom there was pretty close from just the reactions I saw online, and that they did a great job with that.
Yeah, that whole, you're not my daughter, and I certainly ain't your dad. I can't remember the line directly, but it was, everybody has left me, everyone except for you. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that one. You don't know what loss is. Yeah, that's that whole scene was pretty much taken from the game.
I think one of the showrunners said the only difference was that like Joel and Ellie were like in opposite ends of the room in the game. Like that was like the biggest change from it.
Right. Also, the Joel isn't stabbed. They're both attacked by these guys, and Joel falls and lands on a piece of rebar. That's the
okay.
That's the big difference. Yeah. But for tomorrow's episode, we're recording this on Saturday, the 25th. But remember those three guys. I think it's going to be a flashback episode because Riley was in the teaser.
Okay, correct me if I'm wrong, Dane, because it looks like obviously it's with Ellie and a friend of hers. Wasn't that like some DLC content for the first
that was
game?
the DLC for the first game.
Okay.
Yeah. That is a story and a half. I'd say that is quite the story. Looks like they're adding a lot more into it with Ellie going to school and stuff. And,
okay.
Things like that. But the main thing is Riley and Ellie. That's the main. That's probably going to be the main story. After that, things are going to get really real. Let me tell you, Tim. There's going to be a character named David. That's all I'll say.
Okay.
I'm not sure if they're going to go to that extreme. Maybe I'm pretty sure they are because judging off of the show, what they've done in the show so far. But there's going to be this character named David, played by is it Nolan North in
Oh, okay.
in the game? He plays Nathan Drake, right?
Yeah. Mhm.
Yeah. So in Last of Us, he plays this guy named David. It's a totally different role than he's usually cast as, but yeah, things are gonna get really real really fast. Probably after this episode, it seems like, because it seems like this next episode is gonna be totally a flashback. But yeah, I really enjoyed this episode because if I had a complaint, it was the complaint that they weren't being literal in what Joel was feeling.
Mhm.
You know, he's not really sure he's done terrible things, right? But he's not really scared of that. What he's scared of is he's feels himself starting to, open himself up to Ellie and treating her like how he would treat his daughter.
Yeah.
Thinking of her as his daughter. That's what he's truly scared of. He's not scared of smashing a guy's skull in with his fist or all these other things. That's just an excuse, right? And that was the main thing that they really hammered home in this episode that you don't really get in the game, to be fair.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, there's a couple of moments, like I can't remember which city they're going through, and Ellie sees a giraffe for the first time. She's never seen a giraffe, obviously.
Okay.
And yeah, it's a really nice, beautiful moment that has like zero gameplay to it. And yeah, like that was the main thing that with this episode, and like the thing that I really really latched onto is how they sort of explained how what Joe was feeling and how I'm sure he's traumatized by what he's done, but what he's really scared of is thinking of Ellie as his daughter and caring for her and loving her, right?
Yeah,
I think
and
that's what
potentially losing her, obviously. Yeah.
and potentially losing her. And you'll see that in probably the final episode.
Now for this one,
Yeah,
Dane, in the game where they're at in this episode, this town and village, was this
Yeah.
kind of like a pit stop in the game in the story where it's mainly like story, cutscene, exposition stuff, or is there actually gameplay moments in that town that the show didn't adapt?
No, there's no action scenes here. It's mostly just walking around and seeing the town. Yeah, it's pretty much just. I think you have to fight back a couple of bandit attacks, but I think that's about it.
Okay.
Another thing they did really well was they switched the roles of Tommy and his wife Maria, where it seems like Maria is more in charge of. I mean, they say it in the show. They run that town as a commune, right?
Uh-huh.
And through a council, and she's part of the council. And in the game, it seems like Tommy's in charge of all of that.
Okay.
And in the show, it seems like Maria sort of has a bigger role in it. I really like that change too. But yeah, I you see, I had a small complaint and they answered it. See, so it's it. See what I didn't do there, Tim? I didn't get on my Twitter account and tweet angry stuff about how they're not sticking to the Bible of the game or whatever, So yeah, I really enjoyed the episode, and bring your tissues out, Tim, for this next one.
Oh boy.
So awesome.
Okay.
The two things you really want to remember for the future is those guys that attack Joel and Ellie.
Uh-huh.
Those three guys, you want to remember those guys.
Okay.
And you also want to remember, I don't know if you remember, but back in that Kansas City episodes when Joel and Ellie are hiding out from the patrols in that store.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Do you remember what Ellie said?
Refresh my memory.
She said, they're attacked by the those guys, and then Ellie has to kill or shoot somebody.
Oh, where she said it wasn't the first time?
Yeah, you
Okay.
want to remember that. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. But yeah, this show continues to amaze me. I don't think there's been a bad episode, at least in my opinion.
No, I don't think so. But I think
Yeah,
these last two in particular have just been like 10 out of 10s pretty much.
yeah. Oh, the beginning of the episode where you see Henry with the gun after he's killed Sam. Then he puts it to his head, and you hear Joel scream, and then it cuts to Winter. That's pretty much how it
Yeah.
happens in the game.
I remember you telling me
Yeah.
on the last episode where it just immediately goes to the next sequence
Yeah.
of the game.
It immediately goes to the next section. So, yeah, not a bad episode. I've dropped behind on every single show that I've been watching, especially the Bad Batch.
Will that be the case for Mando though? I mean, we're gonna have two
I don't know.
Pedro Pascal
Yeah.
led series going at the same time.
What a great year for Pedro Pascal.
Right?
He's got this show. He's got Mando. What a great year for ants also. The cordyceps virus goes into ants right now, at least. You get Ant-Man and the Wasp. What a great year for ants. I never thought of I didn't think of that until now. Wow. Got
2023, the year of Pedro Pascal and ants. So just another great
next episode, Tim.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're definitely gonna want to watch this one when it comes out, not wait a day.
Oh no, I never do. I mean, it's become must-watch Sunday TV. I mean, this is how it was for House of the Dragon for me, where it's like I just couldn't wait every Sunday night to watch it. Last of Us. After these last two episodes, it's reached that point for me where I'm just looking forward to everyone now. Oh, and
Really?
I will say this, Dane. I bought the game, The Last of Us Part 1. I did get it.
Did?
Yes. I saw it was on sale
Yeah.
I saw it was on sale. Like, I'm going to take advantage of it. I'm going to get it. I want to start it sooner rather than later. So I'll probably be, maybe even before this weekend's over, and maybe I'll start a little bit of it. But I think I told you before, too, where I don't, even if I do start playing it, I don't want to get too far ahead of the TV show because it's like I'm already invested in how the TV show is telling the story. I'm going to let that be the version of how I experience it for the first time. So I doubt anyway, knowing how slow I am with starting games, and I'm playing a game right now anyway, that won't be the case, but I'm definitely going to be starting it soon. I'm looking forward to it.
Well, to be fair, this is the beginning of the final act. Not this flashback, but what's going to happen next is the beginning of the third part of the first game.
Okay.
So we're in the home stretch, and I don't know if you saw, but The Last of Us Part 2 is actually on sale this week.
I saw it was like $10 only, like when I was looking.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna hold off because I'm hoping for by the time I finish playing The Last of Us Part 1, and I got an onslaught of games coming out beginning in April, where by the time I'm ready to play The Last of Us Part 2, it'll become like a free PlayStation Plus game to download, and I'll just get it that way. So that'll probably be the case because, man, it's going to be a great year of games, even though it's too many coming out at the same time that I want to play once we hit April. So
yeah, you're right. So what was it with these last two episodes that really got you going on Last of Us?
Just the way the story is moving forward, and just especially with this last one, just the character development between Ellie and Joel, and the one before that with Sam and his brother. I mean, that was just a heartbreaking story, but it was just told so well done too that it just really hit you. It was like one of those episodes that you thought about after you watched it for a few days.
Right.
So I just felt really hit its stride with storytelling and the characters in these last two.
Wow, Tim, really, you really bought Last of Us. Wow.
Post-apocalyptic setting, regardless of how I feel, it's just overused way too much. It's almost like it's like an afterthought of just like the real crux of the story. It's really about the characters, which is really what I'm clinging to in the Last of Us series.
Well, I mean, that's all The Last of Us is. It's the characters, Tim. It's
Mhm.
not so much the clickers
Yeah.
or the zombies, you know.
But at least in the
But yeah,
show, like when they did show up in episode 5, that made for a great action sequence.
yeah, and these people that aren't that are complaining about like the lack of the action sequences from the game, that was taken from the game.
Hmm.
You're sneaking through the museum, you know, and trying to avoid the clickers. Yeah. So, oh, and the watchtower with the sniper rifle with Joel and the sniper rifle, and you're trying to like snipe the clickers that are attacking Henry, Sam, and Ellie. That's from the game. I don't see let's see what these guys are complaining about. Tim.
Always
Gotta
got there's
say,
got to be a section that complains about something.
yeah,
So yeah, another great episode. Looking forward to tomorrow's and the few that we have left, because I know you said there's only 10, right? So, which is usually the standard for HBO. So
yeah.
just 4 more to go. But in my case, anyway, at least I got the game to look forward to experiencing it again. So
Yep, that's I don't know how you're gonna feel about it, Tim, but that is a game that I just can't return to.
I know
And
you
you know,
mentioned
like
that not only for this one, I think you
yeah,
felt that way more about the second one too, like even more
yeah.
so than the first.
It was more the second one. Yeah, I just can't go through that experience again. But
Well,
I'm
you could
glad you
relive it
bought it.
through my experience, I guess, when I tell you what I
Yeah,
think about it.
yeah. I'm glad you bought it, Tim. Can't wait to hear what you think when you finally do start playing it. But I do have a question about the other show we were supposed to talk about, which
Mm.
is the Bad Batch. Was there big changes in recent episodes?
What was the last episode you watched? Was for the Did you watch any more from since we last recorded?
No,
Okay. Then yeah, you still haven't seen probably 2 of the best episodes of the season where some big changes happen. So
like big franchise changes.
it's like
Um,
it's stuff you
yeah.
knew that happened, but we're finally seeing it how it happened in the universe, which is pretty big.
Okay.
So
Okay. I got to get back on that show,
yes.
Tim. It's just The Last of Us just drains me. I
But
don't know. It's the only franchise that does this to me.
you got the Bad Batch earlier in the week on a Wednesday, so you could watch that. Just have a few
Yeah,
days
but
and
I don't like to watch it until Friday.
okay, I gotcha.
Yeah.
I respect that.
So yeah,
So yeah,
I'm glad you love the show and you bought the game. Um, and yeah, I can't wait to hear what you think about the game when you finally do play it.
yeah. Hopefully be soon. I got to play it before April, before Jedi Survivor comes out. That's my goal.
Oh yeah.
Man,
See all
it's
these gameplay previews and
yeah,
yeah,
that's good. That's the start of like an onslaught. So you got Jedi Survivor at the end of April. Then the biggest one. I mean, anytime there's a new Zelda game, it's my most anticipated game of the year. Tears of the Kingdoms in May, and then Street Fighter 6 comes out in May. That's looking really cool. And then the other big one for me, Final Fantasy 16, is in June. I mean, there's no way I'm gonna have Zelda done. Probably knowing how big Breath of the Wild was, I expect nothing
yeah.
less from Tears of the Kingdom. So that's my conundrum right now. Not being able to play or finish Zelda before a new Final Fantasy game's out as well.
Now let me ask you about Zelda really quick. Are they gonna do the thing where it's like you gotta bring like 16 swords into a dungeon because they keep breaking?
I think that breaking mechanic's still there, but from what I've seen and speculating, it looks like you'll have more swords available to you. Like every time you defeat an
Okay,
enemy, you'll probably be able to have a new weapon. But that's the one
yeah,
dynamic of Breath of the Wild I wish they weren't bringing back.
right.
I get trying to be
Also
realistic, but it's more of
yeah,
an annoyance.
also the I mean, I'm a fan of open world games. I love open world games, especially the Assassin's Creed series. As of late, um, The one thing I don't like about open world games is when you have to unlock stuff so you can do the thing, right? So
Mhm.
like I want to climb up that mountain because there's a treasure chest up there, but I can't do it now because I don't have enough stamina, right?
Uh,
And that's the problem I had with Breath of the Wild, where it's just like, like so what can I do then? Oh, okay, I can go into the dungeons. I better gather 25 sticks so that I can fight half the boss. You know, I can drain the boss's life halfway down. And then I gotta stop and go out and get another 25 sticks to drain the rest of it. You know, and then I
sounds like you're going to the wrong bosses at the wrong time.
and then you and then you defeat the boss, and then you get like a little bit of XP, and that's it. And it's like, what did I do all of this for? It's been an hour since I started this. What was the point of that? But anyway, I'm sorry, Tim. I'm sorry about complaining about your favorite game. Um, let's move on.
I guess on that note, then, with Dane complaining about his early experience with Breath of the Wild, I guess that's the note we'll end this episode on. After some positive talks about The Last of Us, Ant-Man and the Wasp, the Flash trailer, for me anyway, Dane has to come back and end it on a negative note. So thanks a lot, Dane. I'll just throw it to you for a negative outro, so go for it.
Sometimes I just want to fight the boss, is all I'll say. I just want to show up and I just want to fight the boss. I don't understand what's so hard. Sometimes I just want to go when I'm traveling just to ride a horse. But, oh no, the horse got lost for some reason. I can't get the horse back
Well,
for
that
whatever
seems more of a
reason.
your problem. I never had that problem with the game.
I want to get that treasure chest up on that mountain. I can't. Why? Because I don't have a sweater, of course. Okay, well, let me go look online. Let's see what people. Is there a workaround I can go around? You know. Okay, first you gotta collect these
See, I got to fight back a
spices,
little bit on that. That's the
these
beauty of
chili
Breath of the Wild.
peppers.
You can do things even though you're not prepared and equipped to do it. Like you could go fight the final boss if you wanted to with the sticks and nothing. The option is there. You can get that stuff far out there if you want. It's going to be harder to do it, but you do have
Yeah,
the options to do that, which is why Breath of the
exactly.
Wild is so incredible.
It is just yeah, but the chest that you want to get to has your sweater in it. That's the thing. But to get to
I don't know
that
about
point,
that.
but to get to that point, okay, let's first gather chili peppers and then a few other ingredients. Wait, I don't know how to make this stew, this chili stew. Okay, so I gotta go find the recipe. I found the recipe. Okay, let's make like I don't know. You think it'll take 5 chilies to climb that mountain? Okay, let's try it. You get a quarter of the way up and you're totally out of chilies. Okay, so now I gotta climb down. I gotta go repeat that whole thing again and make, I don't know, 18 chilies so that I can get to the top of the mountain. I get to the top of the mountain. It's freezing. I've run out of chili. I don't have a sweater and I die. That's the story. That's the story of life, period.
Wow. See, I know the moment you exactly what you're talking about because one of the first things you have to do in the game, but I did not have that much trouble getting up that mountain. That's for darn sure.
Okay. I I don't hate that game, Tim. I just I just I just dislike it very much.
Wow. Ah,
It got hyped too much. You hyped it up too much for me, Tim.
sure, blame it on me.
uh,
Blame me the fact that
anyway,
you don't know where to get the chili in the sweater. Sure.
uh, anyway, on that negative note about Breath of the Wild and its frustrating mechanics, Let's end the show by saying go over to the BatmanUniverse.net, Facebook.com/Batman Universe, Twitter handles at Batman Universe, show's Twitter handles at Bat-Fans Podcast. Tim's Twitter handle is at TimG311, who loves Zelda Breath of the Wild. My Twitter handle is at DaneSaysBanana. Rate and review us on iTunes. iTunes doesn't exist anymore. It's Apple Podcasts. And if you want to email the show, you can email the show at batfanswithoutpants@gmail.com. So with that, let me say at the end of every single episode, Tim.
We love each and every one of you with all of our Zelda Breath of the Wild loving hearts, no matter what lies Dane tries to say about the game.
Except for me. I don't have that heart. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
See
you
guys
just
next time.
need to get more heart pieces from the game, then you'll have a bigger heart to love the game.
It's just more time to die.
Maybe we'll see you next time. I don't know if I'll be recording the beginning or after this, so. Next episode's up in the air. We'll see.
We'll see you guys next time.
Maybe.
Sunrise under Gotham, Crime Alley's rich boys' tomb. There's the